The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my monthly psychic hour. I'm so glad that you're all able to attend this evening and share this very early beginning to fall that's just beginning to come upon us, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. And it has really, really been a beautiful last few days as the weather just starts to cool down a little bit here in Florida. And probably you folks up north are starting to get some leaf change and begin to see fall coming into our world. How nice is that? So welcome. This evening we're going to have a lot of fun. There's a lot going on. I can tell from the horary chart I've got on the screen this evening that you folks are going to be just filled with questions tonight. So that's going to be lots of fun. Let me take a moment as we get started, as I usually do, to go over a few of what I call housekeeping announcements. And thank you for bearing with me, but I love to keep you folks informed about what's going on in my world. First off, just a reminder, our psychic cruise is definitely going to be held next spring. It's April 10th through 15th, 2021. I'm going to be going on a cruise myself during December, and it's on the same line. So I'm going to be able to check ahead of time. So keep tuning back in, and I will let you know how things are going and if the cruise is as desirable as I expect it to be. But what I understand is that everything is going to be pretty much back to normal by the time we get into April, and we're going to have just an absolutely wonderful time. If you want a place in my private group, you do need to book through our Expedia travel agent, Pat Frank. Her contact information is on the website. You can also get that through my assistant, Lisa, who's in the chat room here. So if you, like me, are somebody who loves to be out there on the water and loves cruises, and especially after this year-long lockdown with COVID-19, you're really dying to be someplace that allows you to feel free and relaxed, sign on, because we plan to have an absolutely marvelous time. And the reason I keep letting you know early is because Royal Caribbean, that's the line we'll be on, is constantly running specials. And I know that if you get in there early, you're going to be able to get a good discount on your tickets. So contact Pat, tell her you're interested, and put her to work for you. My reading special this month is, if you read my editorial or watched it on YouTube or Facebook or any of the other social networks, I really have a lot to say on the subject of fear and why we should all be working very hard to put that emotion completely out of our lives right now. And to support and help you to do that, my reading special is about identifying what your individual fears are and helping you to conquer them and set them aside so that you can start moving through life with a positive attitude and create positive things in your world going forward. So that's what this month's reading special is all about. And I'll be holding that special right up through the end of September. So if that interests you, make sure you get that reading booked by the time we get to the end of September. Now, VIPs, I've got a lot of announcements for you, and I'll be announcing them during our VIP session at the end of the month, too. That next Q&A for VIPs is September 24th. Be sure, please, to get your discount if you are already a VIP member. And if you're not, but you're thinking of joining it, now is the time to join. It's only $97 a year or $10 a month right now. Our normal price is $197 a year or $20 a month. So it's quite a benefit to join right now. And if you are already a member and you're locked into the higher price, you need to cancel that membership and renew your membership right now at the lower price. It'll be grandfathered in forever at that lower price. The VIP membership is running a special right now. I have a membership drive going on. So if you join now, so like I said, if you cancel your membership and rejoin, you're going to get this. Or if you're brand new, or if you are already a member and you bring a friend in, you're going to be getting a free gift. And this month's free gift is something everybody's going to love. It's an actual video covering so many aspects of numerology that you are going to have an absolutely amazing time with it. You learn so much. It's wonderful. So it's a great time to join. Now, my next psychic hour is October 11th. If you haven't already done that, please put it on your calendar. Folks, a big secret is that I usually do the psychic hour the first Sunday of the month, so a lot of you are used to putting that on your calendar. And in October, I've switched it to the 11th. So why have I switched it? It's because October 4th, when it was originally scheduled, is Lisa, my assistant, who's in the chat room. It's her birthday. So I'm planning on doing something very special for her, like maybe taking her out to dinner that night. So on October 4th, think about us. And then on October 11th, come back and join me in the psychic hour. Also, just a note, the Beginner's Tarot class, which is an online self-study class with a Facebook access that gives you direct access to me to kind of guide you through the program and other members as well. That course is still on sale. It's got a great discount. Code 20TAROT, 20 is what you type in to get that discount. Now, at the end of this month, and I'm sorry I didn't check the dates, but they're on my website and Lisa has them. So she could give those to you if you ask her in the chat room. At the end of the month, I'm going to be doing Q&A for tarot people. And in October, there are going to be 2 more Q&As. So that's on my website. It's also in my newsletter, and Lisa can give you that information now if you know you want to attend it. And that's for anyone, not just the people who are studying tarot now, but anyone who's ever studied tarot with me using any modality. You're welcome to come to those classes. All 3 classes together are $60. Or Lisa can invoice you separately for $20 if you only want to attend 1 class. But they're well worthwhile because we do actual readings. So this is a tarot Q&As for people who already mostly know the meanings of the cards, but you can be a beginner. You just have to know I'm not going to be going over card meanings in those Q&As, but we're going to be doing actual Celtic cross spreads, simple spreads. And I'm going to be showing you how to get those cards to relate together to make a story out of them so that you can become a tarot reader, a for real reader, not just somebody who sprouts meanings out of a book. Okay? So guess what? If you're interested in learning the tarot, make sure that you get that under your belt by studying either my book or my tarot classes that are on audio in the membership area, or my tarot video class, which is the one that's on sale here right now, using code 20TAROT20, and then attend those 3 Q&As. You'll be so glad that you did. Just a last reminder, we do have an app, and if you are, if you've purchased any of my programs, even without the app, those programs are in your library online, and you can access them anytime on any internet-capable device. It's pretty fascinating to be able to study this way. It's for me, it's like we are in the space age. This is a wonderful opportunity for me to teach you this way and for you to be able to study this way. Okay, I've taken enough time from our fun time this evening, and I'm ready to jump into Q&As or of this evening, your questions. So, Lisa, who is going to be our first person this evening?
The lucky number 1 drawn tonight is Judy T.
Okay.
Judy, can you unmute yourself? Judy T, it says there you go.
Here I go.
Hey,
Well, I'm glad to be here and be with all my virtual friends. This is always fun for me. Calling from the high desert in California, and I'm a Libra. And what I'm most grateful for, see, I've been down this road before. So what I'm most grateful for is the Is the last couple of months we've had several deaths in our family. A lot of my cousins have, passed on. And just for a couple of my cousins, I just kind of, reached out and, how are you doing? And because they were more closer, they were more like siblings to them, but cousins to me. And, how are you doing? And that kind of stuff. And one of them, it happened to be on an anniversary of her son's divorce that he's still struggling with. And so it really meant a lot to her that I was reaching out to, how are you doing? And how is your son doing? I hope he's handling things better. And just let him know that I will talk to him anytime he wants an ear, And she was just very, very thankful and happy and just, telling me that I made her day. So I'm just really grateful that something so small these days can still make a big difference in somebody's life.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's a beautiful story, and it tells us how much of a difference everyone on this call this evening is making in all of their friends and families' lives just by reaching out in those small little ways.
Right.
That is so important. And one of the things I want to just jump on for a moment that you just said, and you read this in the news and you hear it, but now you've heard it from one of our own, and you know how important it is. Folks, right now we really have to talk with each other. We have to reach out to each other. We have to support each other. This whole difficulty with the lockdown from coronavirus, that has created so much stress on people emotionally, psychologically, that, and I don't have to tell you, you guys are living it just like I am and Lisa is. So all I can say is, when you are in a good place, and most of you are because you've been doing the work on yourselves, reach out to other people. Bring them, if you can, with a tap on the shoulder, like you just did, into that good place too. So thank you. I want to say thank you, as in addition to your family thanking you. That's a cool thing to do. And remember that old movie, Pay It Forward? It's paying it forward.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't even thinking about what it would do for me, like bring a smile to my heart, but it did.
Yeah. That was
just
special. Very special. Thank you.
Yeah. So my question tonight is, somebody that I knew from my past way back when, I'll just say his initials are GR to keep his privacy. I'm just kind of wondering, did he have a good life, good, healthy life? Is he happy? And that's basically, I mean, it's just somebody that was really always special to me, and I think about him often.
Yeah, he was the one you didn't marry.
Right.
Yeah. And you know me. Sometimes my being an ex-New Yorker gets the better of me, and I find myself being a little bit too blunt. But I have to be blunt. He's reaching out to you because he's in a lonely place and he wants to be saved. Okay.
Well, I haven't heard from him, but maybe you mean reaching out to me, mentally through a telepathic kind of way.
Right. There are only 3 reasons that somebody. This is actually a great time for a psychic education. There are only 3 reasons that somebody you haven't heard from in a long time pops into your mind. Okay. One, and this is the easy one. Something that you're experiencing in your life right now reminds you of that person. Like earlier this evening, I was cooking some Indian style food. That's one of the things I love to do. And an old flame of mine popped into my mind. That had nothing to do with him. It had to do with the fact that he's the one who taught me how to cook Indian. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So if something like that happens to you, that's not the guy reaching out. Okay. Now, conversely, when I was cooking that Indian food and he popped into my head, he might have thought of me, because when I thought of him, that telepathic message goes out, kind of taps him on the shoulder, an old flame called Sandy's thinking of you. Okay? So you know how that works? We are all connected telepathically, folks. All of us on this whole planet are already telepathic. We just don't consciously know it. I consciously know it, so I'm aware of it all the time. If I think of one of you, whoever I think about emails me. It's just so much fun. Okay.
Yeah.
And you do that with each other too. It's just we all do. Most of us are unaware. So reason number one is simply because something in your life reminded you of that person, so he popped into your mind. Reason number two is that he is thinking of you for some reason, okay? Which is just like I said, when I was cooking Indian food, I'm sure my old flame thought of me because I was having such a good time thinking about him while I was cooking, okay?
Okay.
So that's number two, okay? Number two is that you're thinking about him because he's thinking about you, okay?
Okay.
And number three is because he's really, really thinking about you because he is somebody who's connected to you like in a soulmate way, and he
Mm-hmm.
needs help. And that's the soul reaching out and saying, I really need you. Okay? Usually when it comes to that third way,
Uh-huh.
it's like you can't get rid of the thought. You push it away and it comes back, and you push it away and it comes back, and you push it away and it comes back. When you're having that, it's because that person is continually reaching out to you, kind of like a baby calling out for its mommy.
Oh.
Not going to stop until you go pick it up. Okay?
Yeah, I've experienced situations like that, yes.
Okay. So with this fellow, which one is it?
I think it's 2 and 3.
Yeah, yeah. See, my guide, I'll show you the cards I picked. My guide showed me this. It's a Four of Wands, which simply in the tarot means a marriage. This is the guy you almost
Wow.
okay.
Wow.
And the second card I picked was the Five of Pentacles right side up, which says that one of you, and since you are in a good place, we know it's not you, one of you is hobbling through life because of the bad choice made by not getting married to you. And is
Wow.
thinking about you because he's very, very unhappy, but probably still married to that other person. Okay? So now you got Sandy's blunt New Yorker response. Okay?
Oh, I don't think you were, blunt to me sounds like a rude way of talking to people, but I don't take that at all. I mean, it's straight to the point,
Yeah.
and that's how I like people to talk to me, and
Yeah.
I'm very straight to the point. Yeah, I think you're all, yeah. And it's funny because one of the funerals that I went to just a week ago, my sister just out of the blue says, so Judy, is there anybody that, you would have married? And I brought him up. And she's like, oh, I never heard about him. And I said, well, you were busy raising your family, and just briefly told her a little bit about him, but even like the last, couple months, there's been a lot of thought of him in my head. And so being able to talk to you today and having her bring that up, it just kind of brings it all together. And
yeah.
A huge wow as far as the cards that you drew.
Yeah. Well, I love the tarot. It's always fun when I'm teaching a tarot class to show the cards and tell the cards basic meanings like that, because I always tell people you don't have to be psychic to do the cards. The cards do it all for you.
Wow.
And that's why it's just it's nice to be able to show that. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Before you get off though, I want to tell everybody about what's going on here and how accurate this is. This horary chart that I threw for this evening, that's here on your screen. This little guy over here on the right side of the chart where my cursor is, that's the sign Libra. And Libra is all about relationships. And when we do our psychic hour, folks, all of you are represented by this house as a group. Okay, the group mind is this seventh house because you are relating to me. This is the house of relationship, right? Well, as soon as I saw Libra on the seventh house, I simply knew that most everybody here is going to be asking questions about something having to do with a relationship. So you started the call out by talking about what a wonderful thing you've been doing with your family and reaching out to them. That's relating. Now let me show you that. This Libra seventh house opposes Mars in Aries. Mars is action. Let's take action ourselves. Aries is self. And they square, the square aspect, 90 degrees, these three planets in Capricorn, which is what's going on in the world, okay? which is Jupiter. You're so far away. I haven't seen you in a long time because Jupiter's travel. And Pluto, we feel massively manipulated. The whole world feels like we're in the middle of some kind of political siege. Pluto rules politics. Capricorn rules government. Saturn, which has to do with responsibility, okay, and Capricorn rules the parents, the parental structure. You're feeling responsible for your family. You took action. You reached out. The T-square always comes out into the one empty spot, which is family, the fourth house. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
And then you asked your question, which was about a relationship. Don't you
Yes.
love astrology?
I love that you understand it and can help us with all of this.
You know, one of the things that's happened with both Lisa and my husband Ron over the years, neither one of them is an astrologer, but in spite of themselves, they're talking astrologies to people all the time because you cannot involve yourself with Sandy without picking up some astrological tidbits. It seeps in. So
Mhm.
years on a learning curve, whether you know it or not.
Very nice.
Hey, thank you so much for your questions. They were really good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Lisa, who's next on our list?
Well, first, I have to say, yes, I'm very afraid of the Mars retrograde that's coming September the 9th and the Mercury retrograde that's going to hit at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know nothing about astrology, but those stick.
Well,
So,
let's talk about astrology a little bit. Mars is action and Mercury is communication. And retrograde is either looking back or going back to something which happened already. So there's going to be, in everybody, in all of our lives, not just in the greater world, it'll happen there too, but in all of our lives, we're going to be taking action on something we've either been talking or thinking about that already happened that we decided we better do something about. That's all that means, Lisa. That is not so bad, is it?
well, seeing how 2020 has not been favorable, I could lean the other direction. I'm a Libra.
Yeah, and see, I just here you can either see that glass of water half full or half empty, okay? And I'm choosing to see it half full. That there might have been something maybe back in July or back in March or back in last January that maybe I might have handled a little bit differently. It would have been something that involved what I thought or spoke about, or maybe what I taught, because that has to do with Mercury too. You get it, it's communication. And I'm going to have a chance to correct that and actually put that into action. So whatever it was, I'm going to have an opportunity for a redo. See, I see that as very positive. How do you like that?
I like that. That's
Yeah.
the way I'm going to look at it.
Yeah, an opportunity for a redo. And that's for each and every one of us. And that's after what date, Lisa?
Well, I have to go back because I actually wrote it down.
I know.
Mercury, Mars retrograde is from September the 9th to November 13th.
Uh-huh.
And the Mercury retrograde hits right in the middle on October 13th to November 3rd.
Right. So it's going to be something that comes back again, the action, so you get to see it. Then you're going to talk about it, and then you're going to get to take the action. So this is coming up pretty soon. And it's
Yeah.
I think we're going to have an opportunity for a course correction if we want to take it, but we don't have to. That's the other thing. You don't have to. But if you want to, the opportunity will be there. Cool.
Sounds wonderful. I'm taking it.
Yeah, thanks
All
for
right.
bringing that up. So who's next on our list of people to put on the griddle?
Okay. I love that. Now, and I'm going to sound stupid asking this, and I apologize because when this starts, I get so busy, I miss things. Did you tell them to tell you their sun sign and what they're grateful for? And did
Yep.
you go through that tonight?
No, I didn't, but our
And
first
I just missed it. Okay.
no, I didn't. Our first caller was so good that she did it herself. She's
Okay. Excellent.
But folks,
All right.
we follow the same pattern that she did. So when Lisa calls on you, I need your sun sign or your date of birth if you don't know your sun sign. What you're most grateful for, and also your question.
And where they're from.
Oh, and where you're from. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next person I'm calling on, I think she might be new, so she really may be a victim, is Miriam. Miriam, can you unmute yourself? Oh, there
Yes,
you go.
hi. Yes, can you hear me?
I can.
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Thank you. This is my first time, and yes, I might be a victim. Thank you so much for taking my call. First of all, my question. So, my name is Miriam Zuluaga. I'm a Scorpio, and I was born on November 1st, 75. And what I'm most grateful for is my health and for me and my family, and for being able to be here with you tonight and meet you.
well, thank you.
I'm a fan. Yes.
Okay, let me just explain before you ask your specific question. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on for all of the Scorpios on our call this evening. And in addition to Scorpio, if you're a Taurus, an Aquarian, or a Leo, you should be listening to this. Okay? And I'm going to ask you while I'm talking, Miriam, if you would mute until you get to ask your question, because our mics are
Okay.
interfering with one another somehow. Okay. Right now, the Moon and Uranus, you see these two where I got my cursor here in the first house? That Moon and Uranus are only 2 degrees apart in Taurus, which is opposing Scorpio, squaring Leo, squaring Aquarius, and in Leo, we have Venus. So if you are a Scorpio, you're kind of having a little bit of trouble if you have kids with your oldest kid.
Yes.
And yeah, and if you're single, you're kind of wanting to get things off the ground with a relationship that's, maybe not quite coming together the way you want it to, but has promise. If you're married, it might be that you and your husband are just not quite on the same page at this point, although you still love each other, okay? And this is a little bit of an issue because there are all this Moon and Uranus opposing Scorpio. That says that there are so many people that you have in your life right now that you're relating to. Remember, this is about relationships. This whole session is going to be about them. There are a lot of people who are launching things on you unexpectedly and expecting you to be the person who fixes it all. So this is like you're in the middle of giving a party and your son's car breaks down and you have to go pick him up. Okay. This is the kind of stuff that's happening. And it can be very, very frustrating, especially if you're not an astrologer and you don't understand that this is just a transit. You're a little bit short on your temper right now. And so you really have to be careful that you're not allowing all these little interfering things to get to you. Okay. Spend time with your friends all month long, because the more people you have around you that can give you emotional support that you don't feel obligated to, or vice versa, the more comfortable and the more free you're going to feel from all these other little things that are really getting under your skin. Now, what's your specific question?
Okay. Well, yeah, my specific question basically it has to do with my it's more about spirituality.
Okay.
I'm the type of person that since I was very young, I feel and I see and dream and everything else. So lately, I had an experience in my bedroom. It sounds crazy, but where I saw a character that looked like a human with wings.
Cool.
When I woke up, that person was on top of me. I got really scared because I didn't know. I mean, it was a little scary, but it didn't look scary. It looked human, and it had wings. So I'm not too sure. It's a little bit off, but I'm not. I don't know. I was kind of curious to see what your thoughts were on that.
Well, I heard the part of it. In your dream, he was in the bedroom. He was a humanoid-shaped person with wings, which sounds like an angelic form. And when you woke, you said something about him being on top of you.
Like he was on the side of my room, like in a corner, almost like he was looking at me.
Okay. So,
And I said, "Oh my goodness!" So I kind of like jumped off my bed, and when I just left the room, I don't know.
so it scared you.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Honestly,
sorry.
it sounds to me as if all of us have guides. All of us have helpers from the other side. Many of us have relatives who've passed on, who continue on to be our guides to give us help and support along life's way.
Hmm.
That's very common. All of us have guides that are, I think of a life guide, a protector guide, that have been with us all of our life, assigned to us actually before we were even born, that help us to complete our journey and our path in life. And some of us, not all of us, also have an angel or a guardian angel. And it sounds like you're one of those people. And the angel picked that moment to kind of introduce himself or herself because you probably were in the right frame of mind while you were sleeping to create an energetic doorway so that that connection could be made, i.e. you were in sync. So that in that dream you saw him, and when you opened your eyes you saw him, and then you got scared and ran out of the room.
Yes.
But you probably met either your guardian angel, or maybe you have just an angel that gives guidance. But that's how I would interpret that. Okay.
Okay.
And I would just, when I go to sleep at night, and I would do a little prayer for protection and rub my
Hmm.
third eye and say, I would like to know more about you and to create some communication. If you'd like to come back and make a mental visualization of whoever it was that you saw, that's how you'll connect energetically. And say, I'm inviting you to discuss with me more, but protect first, just in case he wasn't somebody from the good side. Okay?
Okay. Okay. That sounds great.
Yeah. That sounds very exciting. And what did I say that this was all going to be about relationships? Well, your question was about a relationship with somebody who's a guide. I love it, but it's still about relationships. That was
Oh,
super.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was only about relationships, but okay.
No,
Yeah, it is a relationship with my spirituality. So
yes,
it's you could
exactly.
put it like
With
yes,
with a being from the other side. It's
yes.
still a relationship. And by the way, I'm not faulting you. You did extremely well. I'm just drawing everybody's attention back. Look at how accurate this astrology chart is.
Yes.
And by the way, the South Node which is for you, the second house, it's your natural talents and abilities, is in the house of spirituality.
Mm.
And this tells me that you have spent many lifetimes studying spirituality and developing either a very powerful belief system or an understanding of what's on the other side, which gives you a strong basis for bringing that angelic presence into your life.
Is that what that is?
That's what that is.
Oh
Cool.
my God. I have been told before that yes, in many lives before, they kind of did a therapy on me or something where you could do a little bit of regression, you could go back,
Right?
and I have seen myself in different lives doing this type of thing.
Yep.
So, and it's very strong. Like people have told me before, oh my God, you definitely have something for this. And I'm definitely interested in taking your classes or something because I'm looking for something like this, for something that someone that can teach me right,
Well, check out
not just anyone.
just have found the right place to study. By the way, this also in the second house for you says that this is something where you would be able probably to earn your living at it. You would be good.
Really.
Yeah. So that's something to put in
Oh,
your mind. Good for you.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. I needed this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. So who's next, Lisa?
Alrighty, the next person on my list is Melinda. Melinda, can you unmute?
Hi. I didn't expect to get picked, but I'm so excited.
Hello, Melinda. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much. I have is it just one question, which is fine?
Well, first of all, let's have a little background on you. What is your sun sign?
Oh, I'm so sorry. This is my first time. Yes.
Uh-huh.
It's Melissa. I'm a Virgo and I live in Ohio.
Okay. Ah, you're the tell it like it is state. Yes. Good to always talk to somebody from Ohio, especially if you have a decision to make.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
And what are you most grateful for in your life right now, Melinda?
All the loves of my life. My family is meeting once a week. My boyfriend is wonderful. My dogs. I'm just thankful to be alive and be loved as much as I am.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Wonderful. And now, what's your specific question?
Um, so I had actually a couple of questions, but the one that my company, my boyfriend and I opened a company a year ago, and it's struggling right now. Like I feel like it's about to take me under. I don't know if I should turn my car in and get a lower car payment to try to keep this business afloat. I didn't know if you felt anything about that, but I
What I see from the chart, I'm going to talk to my guides and the cards as well, but what I see from the chart is that the reason you are still hanging in with this business right now is your boyfriend.
yeah.
It has to do, Libra's right here on this. This is your second house, which is how you earn your living from your first, right? And, you and your boyfriend opened a great business because you really communicate well. This communication is Mercury right here in Libra. The problem is that both of you are working so hard to please the other one and do what the other one wants that you are forgetting to ask, do you think this is a really good idea to keep it going? Because you don't. You're ready to say, maybe we should get regular jobs for right now and go back to doing this a different time or change how we're doing it because the way it's being done right now isn't working. Okay? And you need to have that discussion with him. You need to have enough grace and faith in him. And I think you're going to be really surprised because he's been thinking all the same things, but he's afraid of disappointing you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now let's look at the business's finances first of all. Okay. Here's the business, it's a partnership with you and your boyfriend. Let's look at the finances of it. The finances are pooled money. So he's in this, you're in this, you both are. Okay. Let's look at how the business is doing itself. Okay. The business, we're going to do something in astrology we call spinning the wheel. So the 10th house from your first is the business out there in the world. It's its title. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's a good business. The North Node is in Gemini. It feels like it's in the communications field or takes a lot of communication to get it off the ground because Gemini is about communication. Also takes two people really to make it work or more, but two founders, two principals. The thing is, this is not a bad business. It's a great business, and it got off the ground when you opened it with a pizzazz where it was going to do well. The problem is that there have been too many, get this, too many other expenses. And I don't know what those have to do with, if it's your kids, his kids, if it's employees that you had to keep on. There have been too many expenses that are pulling on the business. If it wasn't for those expenses, the business would still be able to function. So you may have to close it, or you may be able to figure out a way to alter how you're running it so that you can curtail the expenses. And those expenses they're all the things you want to make it right, but they don't work right now. I don't know if that's helping to give you any insight. Okay. It's like you've got to change how you're doing it in order to be able to pull the money in that you need from that business. Okay. There's got to be, it may be that you'll be able to do it if one of you gets a regular 9 to 5 job and the other holds the fort with the business. But you can't keep pulling the money out of the business for the things that you want. I get the desired things that are both going into the business and into your personal life are pulling the business. They're taking the money out of the business, and that's what's killing it really. Okay. And let's see your question. Does the business have a future if you get a handle on that? I'm pulling a card for this. and I picked up the 10 of Pentacles, and that's right side up. It's a big yes. And apparently money was borrowed from, it looks like, family members to get this off the ground. And the big yes is that you would be able to pay those family members back, but you've got to be able to stop pulling money out of the business and support it like you would a kid in order to build it back up to be able to pay the money back. If you can't do that, then you may have to step out of it entirely and pay the money back out of personal savings along the way. But it's possible because it is a viable business. It's got strong potential, just not now because of what's happened with COVID. Okay? Does that help a little? Now, let me ask you one more question that you didn't ask. Is there any way that you're going to be able to get money from the government to support this business? And I get yes. Have you done that yet?
Yes, we did. We got a loan for it, but we got a $3,000 loan a couple months ago. But the rent.
Okay, you need to go to your accountant, okay, and ask your accountant to put in, because the accountant will know better than you guys. You need to have them put in for every different type of loan possible. Loans, grants, there's a new grant that's come out. There's so much money out there that's going to support businesses. But if you're running the business, you don't have enough time to research this. So your accountant has a job, and their job is to research it for you. Okay, so go do that, because that could tide you over, especially if one of you can get a job that brings in extra money to pay the daily bills to make this business the success that you really want it to be. The potential's there. But if you can't do that, then your feeling of should we just close it is what you should do. Okay? Your idea of getting a loan against the car or selling the car, not good. Okay? That's defeatist.
Well, what I was thinking was getting a different car with a lower payment, but all this money was mine.
Right.
I invested my entire life savings
Mm-hmm.
into that. So if it doesn't work, I'm done. And I have health issues and haven't worked since 2011. So.
Well, and one of the big reasons that you're having the health issues flare up right now is because, I said, get my reading about fear, okay? You are living in fear because of what's gone on with the business and because of all the things that you're afraid of. If this doesn't work, what happens to the relationship? And the list of fears goes on and on and on. Once you start thinking about one, it ticks them all off. It's like dominoes, and now it's like overwhelming and you get sick. Okay? So either you're going to need to get out of it and just live on your disability and so much for the savings, and at least you can get better and heal because you won't have all those other worries, or you've got to get that tax accountant or whatever your business accountant is to put in requests for every little bit of money they can get their hands on, because believe me, if you put your life savings in, it's a fairly big business. It was making decent money before COVID hit, and guess what? $3,000 is nothing. You didn't apply the right way in the right place. Okay? I hope that sounds encouraging. Okay? There's money there. You just have to find it. And you've got to get somebody trained to find it. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good luck to you. And who's next, Lisa?
Our next person is going to be Aaron. Aaron, you're unmuted.
Good evening.
Aaron.
My sun sign is Scorpio, and I am most grateful for my spiritual awakening. Honestly, I have been on a journey of self-discovery, self-learning, and I'm very grateful that I'm where I am with that.
Me too. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
Where did you say you're from?
I live in Naples, Florida.
Naples, a fellow Floridian.
Yes. Yes. Hot.
I pretty much already went over all the, little tiddly things that are driving you Scorpios mad right now. I want to mention one other thing though, and this again it affects all the fixed signs. This little doodad, see where my cursor is? That looks
Mm-hmm.
with a pitchfork. This is called
Right.
Uranus. That's the planet Uranus. And Uranus is in a sign for 7 years. It's a slow mover. And it's only been in Taurus now for about a year and a half. That means it's got 5.5 more years to play games with your head. And when Uranus goes through the fixed signs, it drives the fixed signs, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, it drives them crazy because although it brings great opportunities, that's why I told our previous caller, there is money there. You just got to go out and find it, find a professional to find it, because Uranus brings great opportunities and it brings them suddenly from out of nowhere. It's that kind of thing. It's like you stumble over them and you say, where'd that come from? And if you don't act immediately, you miss it. Uranus has that effect, and fixed signs aren't good at that. They're not good at dealing with having to respond quickly, okay? And they're also not good at dealing with life that constantly shifts and changes. And right now, I can guarantee you that if you have an event planned, like you wanted to be here tonight, in the middle of the event, you're going to get the most important phone call of the week. Okay, it's life happening. Uranus manages to throw monkey wrenches every 10 seconds into everything you plan. And if you are a fixed sign, you don't like anybody messing with your schedule, do you?
No, I don't. You, I'm trying to adapt and roll with the punches, but yeah, it's challenging. It definitely is.
Yeah, just telling yourself that you've got 5.5 more years to be patient. And honestly, if you get good at rolling with the punches, there will be great rewards. Okay?
Oh well.
There's so many
Awesome.
opportunities that come with this. Okay, I was reading an article today. This big marketing guru was telling the world all about how there are 2 ways that you can deal with all of the fears and all of the struggle that the COVID-19 lockdown has brought into our lives. You can either hunker down in fear and end up losing everything, or you can poke your head up and say, in the midst of change, there is always opportunity. Where's the opportunity for me? Where is it? You see that? So that's what everybody needs to be doing, is pushing the fears away, poking your head up and looking, because the opportunity for greatness, the opportunity to make your life exactly what you want to be is here. You just might have to move to the other side of the track, or shift how you're doing your life a little tiny bit, or maybe be a little more lenient in how you handle a relationship. Isn't that interesting? So flexibility is incredibly important. Okay. So
Got you.
what's your specific question?
My specific question is pertaining to my husband. He has been battling cancer for the last 3.5 years. However, I've noticed a pattern, again, kind of connecting to the spiritual awakening. Every time he undergoes stress or a trauma at work, it almost instantaneously affects his health. And there's some really not good stuff going on at work. And I pretty much, I know what I believe, I'm just looking for some input, some guidance here. I want him to retire before it literally kills him.
I want you to see this. My guides just pulled that 10 of, I'm pulling cards as you're talking. My guides pulled the 10 of Pentacles for you.
Okay.
They're all for his retiring, but they're also saying that he needs to hold out for the right package. He'll be able
Gotcha.
Right. He'll be able to retire, and he'll be able to retire with enough money for you guys to do very, very nicely. So please tell him that. What's his sign?
Okay. He's Libra.
Okay, look at that. Libra. I love it right there where it needs to be on the relationship. I want you to know also, my guides tell him this. My guides believe he's going to survive the cancer with flying colors, so he's doing very well. And I agree with you that pattern. Thank you for noticing that. Make sure you tell it to him. Half of the battles that we wage in life, folks, can be won if we're sharp enough to recognize these returning patterns in our own life and in the lives of the people that we love. You're absolutely right. When he gets upset about work, his health goes down. When he feels better, his health goes up. And the writing's on the wall. It's time to leave, but negotiate. And he is not as good a negotiator as you are.
Amen.
He's too nice. He wants to be nice to everybody. Okay. He needs to take lessons from my assistant Lisa. Okay. Libra. Okay. Because she can talk anybody into anything and out of anything. She's got the gift of honey on her tongue. Okay. And that's what your husband needs to do. You know, he's this nice, sweet guy, and he doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and he always puts the company and the people first, and that's one of the things that's really getting to him. Well, he needs to have his destination in mind. He needs to know going in exactly what he wants and what he thinks is fair, and then he needs to go for the jugular and manipulate the heck out of everybody he talks to make sure he gets what he knows he deserves. Okay, and he can do it.
Absolutely.
Once he has the focus and knows that he's allowed to do this, that this is a good thing for him to work towards. He can do it, but he's got to pre-plan it. He's not as naturally manipulative as you are.
You're right. You're 100% right.
Okay, but please give him that, because you know he's struggling, and yes, what he's got could kill him, but there's no reason it should. Okay.
No, I agree. And even his doctors were amazed. But then again, every time something happens, it takes a dive.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, well, thank you.
You're very welcome. And I see a gal that I would like to bring on. Lisa, let's call on Sharon and let her be my last. I think it'll probably be my last call of the evening.
All righty. Sharon, you are
Yay! Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, I'm a Libra, and I'm from Tennessee, and I'm incredibly grateful for surgeons that know what they're doing when you totally smash all your bones and they have to reconstruct it and put in titanium, and that somebody learned how to do what they needed to do. So I had really good surgeons. My question is, I'm in a lot of pain because of this and totally inconvenienced. I am not suffering, because suffering's an option, but I'm highly inconvenienced. And so not being able to use my right hand now for 3 weeks, and they said it's going to take about 8 months to get it totally back to normal. I want to know, there's always a silver lining. Why did this happen?
Interesting. And I'm busy trying to figure out ways to get you out of pain, and you want to know why it happened. First of all, my guides are telling me that you will be out of pain with this, and that might take the full 8 months, but they're also telling me that the pain ends when you're ready for it to end. Isn't that interesting?
Uh-huh.
And that, of course, ties right into what you just said, and that is the why did this happen. So let's go back to the beginning. Sharon, what's your sun sign?
Libra.
Okay, here we are over here in Libra, and the health house in the astrology chart is the 6th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, spinning the wheel from Libra puts us in here. Okay. So what's interesting is the 12th house of our horary chart, which would normally be the unconscious house for all of us here tonight, is Sharon's house of health. And this is kind of interesting because Sharon, I know you do a whole lot of work psychically. The Neptune is in here talking about this is my day-to-day life. It's all psychic and it's all intuitive. And because I'm such an intuitive, I want to know why this is happening and blah, 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 blah. But Chiron, the healing planetoid, is right here in that 6th house too. And that's the healer. So Sharon, why did this happen? Because you're a healer and you probably don't know it. And that's time for you to step into that next skill that you're supposed to be employing for yourself.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Have you been doing it?
Well, I've been talking to my right wrist and telling it to remember what the left wrist felt like and it should match it. And I've talked to my left wrist and said, guys, help the right wrist go back to being like you are.
Okay, and I'm going to give you some more homework. And you're gonna think this is totally crazy, but it's time for you to take a class in Reiki or quantum. Let me see what they call that. What they use the fire breath. Quantum. Yeah, quantum touch. Okay. Some form of hands-on healing work, and there are many different forms. Hands of Light School with Barbara Brennan. Take a course in hands-on healing. As I'm talking, my hands, I'm holding them out because my hands are just going pulsing. So all of you listening to this should be starting to get pulsing hands, okay? Because when we bring healing energy in through the top of our head, through our crown, and it comes out through the hands, when we think heal, it comes out through our hands, and you can feel your aura pumps up. You begin to feel like, wow, I have to put my hands on something and generate healing energy in it. You could be healing your dog, you could be healing your bird, you could be healing the tree outside the door. What's interesting is that how are you going to bring healing energy through your hand and your wrist and get everything to align and go back into perfection? It's by healing someone else.
Oh, okay.
Because the focus is what you are putting your hands on. And it lines everything up and it heals you. Isn't that amazing how God works? We heal somebody else or something else and healing ourselves at the same time. It's not the only means of self-healing, but that's the means that is showing up here. You are a healer, and you need to be applying that healing to other people in order to heal yourself, and not just with your skills with your numerology. Sharon has a wonderful website. Maybe she'll put that in the chat room for everybody to see. Or Sharon, can you list it for us on here? Can you tell us?
Yeah, it's just knowthename.com.
And folks, go to it because she does things with numerology that nobody else is doing. It's amazing and it's healing. But you're supposed to be doing the healing with your hands on, not just with your mouth. And the other thing I was telling you about with quantum touch, they do something which is called fire breath. This is going to be kind of pretty ugly, but if you take your broken wrist, your wrist that's been harmed, take your other hand and just gently lay it on that wrist. Now you've got to put the hand that's in the air, I'm not going to do it, but you've got to lay it on your heart, okay, or your solar plexus. It's got to complete a circuit within your body. Otherwise, this isn't going to work, okay?
Okay.
And everybody can do this. And when you've got this, your hand, and if you don't have a problem with your hand, you can put both hands on the part of your body that has the problem. But they've got to be, it's all got to be connected because you've got to be completing a circuit in your body. And use fire breath on it. This is part of quantum touch. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, focus on the breath, and breathe out, but breathe out like this. And then breathe in. Hold it, and then do it again. And breathe in again. Hold it. You feel it's building up the pressure, and then do it again. The fire breath directs the energy out through your hands. Now that you're breathing, return to normal. And when you're doing the fire breath, all of you probably did this instinctively. Your diaphragm pulls up, your stomach pulls up, and in order to do it, you're pushing the breath out without inhaling until the end. And that's why that diaphragm really has to come up to be able to do it. It creates a vacuum, and spirit fills that vacuum and pours out. That's what the pressure buildup you were feeling was. And it comes out through your hands into whatever you're touching. It's incredibly healing, and it's the best thing that I've ever worked with myself for self-healing. So if you have a problem with yourself, it works. It actually can move bones, can heal bones. It's fabulous.
I was just going to say the pain just left my hand.
Yeah, good. Good.
So how often do you do that? Every time it hurts or periodically or?
I would definitely do it a couple of times a day until it's healed. And
Okay.
when it hurts, okay? When I learned that, I'm sorry, I cannot remember the fellow's name, but I took it with a wonderful gentleman in Tampa, Florida, and he had a group of us work on a young man that walked into his backyard, and the man's back was an actual C. It was it was curved, so it was curved as much as this circle on the chart and on the screen is curved. And, you know, he walked in with one hip way up, and he was in a lot of pain. He was born that way. It had always been like that. And of course, he had the hunchback that went with that curvature. And they laid him down on a table face down. And the group of us put our hands on his body. They didn't necessarily have to go on the spine. We put him on the body. There were probably about 12 of us. And we all did fire breath together. And we worked on him for about 20 minutes. We did 3 sets. Fire breath, you do like 3 sets. And we did 3 of those 3. Okay, so it was like nine breathing. And then we just sat back. When the guy got off the table, his spine was straight. It actually straightened the bone. And that's when I realized, oh my God, this stuff works. This is factual stuff. Let's go take an x-ray. It really, really works. Okay. Jerome, good question. Something we could all share and we all need. And it does more than bone, but it's wonderful on bone. There's also a great crystal that works for bones too. You should get one and put it near your bed. And Lisa, I'm going to ask you, because you're my woman who knows everything about crystals, that clear one that Ron has on the table that has the bubble in it. What is that crystal called? Do you remember?
Selenite.
Selenite. That's the one that heals bones, folks. Selenite. So keep it next to you on your bed table. Carry one in your purse. Okay?
Great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And thank you, Lisa. Always there with the right information. Everyone, thank you so much for being on with me this evening. I want to tell you, since you were so gracious to be with me through the whole hour, I really appreciate it. If I didn't get to you and you still have a question, please feel free to email me that question. And somewhere over the next week or 2, I will get to it. It takes me a while, but I will get to them all. And either use the email that's connected to this program, or you can send it to Lisa, S-A Inc. at AOL.com, and she will forward that to me. Thank you so very much. And remember, our next psychic hour is the 11th of October. I'll see you then, folks. Good evening. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead.